Hey guys, how's it going? We are obviously not in my garden today. We are in Fort Bragg, and I am so excited to be here. You guys are probably gonna hear the foghorn. We are sitting at one of the little alcoves right here, and it is just so gorgeous. It's obviously very cold, very foggy. I think it's a high of like 65 or something like that, 67 degrees here. And I could not ask for better weather. This is my dream weather. I know so many people hate the foggy and the cold and the wet. I want to be able to throw like a light little jacket thing on and wear pants all year round and have it be 68 degrees. This is where I want to live. The ocean right here. Our hotel room is actually just right there, and there's some sea lions and some seals that hang out in the little bay that our hotel faces, and we got to hear them for most of the morning, and it was actually really magical. And so this is the Noyo Bay in Fort Bragg, and this is one of my favorite places to be. We come to this specific spot every single time because it's a sandy beach. It's nice. Very few people are ever here. And then we also always go to Glass Beach, which if you look up Glass Beach in Fort Bragg, by the way, this is Fort Bragg, California, not North Carolina. I get that question every time. If you look up Glass Beach in California, you're going to see the most glorious photos of Glass Beach, and you'll see millions of pieces of gorgeous glass and shimmery skies and just pure beautifulness. That is not what it looks like. So if you're coming here because you saw photos of Glass Beach, that's not what it looks like. Glass Beach actually used to be a dump, and there's a ton of glass and a ton of pottery. You'll also find a ton of metal and a ton of rust, and a lot of the glass has actually been taken from Glass Beach, which is actually illegal to take the glass there. So if you're coming, please don't take the glass from Glass Beach, because very, very soon it's just going to be beach. It's not going to be Glass Beach anymore. Anyways, let's get into this week's Q&A. My mom is up at the hotel right now. She is waiting for us to finish filming this, and I thought, this is a perfect spot to do it. So let's get into it. Last week's videos were the Q&A, and then we did the massive, massive plant load that showed up. Easy garden project, planting firefly, yarrow, and totem pole grasses. And then you guys got to meet my mom, and we started some seeds, and I planted some hostas with her. And oh my gosh, you guys loved that video. There won't be enough time for me to film another video with her, so that's probably just going to be it, is that one seed starting video that I did with my mom while I was out here. It took some coercing to get her to let me do that. She did make a apple pie while she was out here from scratch, like the crust, everything. She let me write down her entire recipe, so I wrote it down, and I'm working on getting that on the blog, if that makes sense. That didn't make sense. That was a long pause. I'm working to get that written and typed out. I will type it out after she leaves so that way I can spend as much time with her as possible. It is starting to sprinkle just a little bit here. This is what I want. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's get into it. Last week's Q&A, the very first one was, are the neighbors helping pay for the fence, and what companies do I work with, from the last Q&A. And the first question on that video was from, I think it's Lori S, and she had said, I see 4 to 5 hummingbirds in my yard, but one bully keeps chasing the others from the feeder. I have 2, frustrating. Any tips? So we have the same problem. We have 1 hummingbird feeder because we actually had 3 hummingbird feeders, but they only eat out of one of them. So we took the other 2 down. So if the hummingbird that you're seeing is an orange color, it's actually a very aggressive type of hummingbird, and it will chase all the other hummingbirds away from that hummingbird feeder. It's migrating right now. It's going down to Mexico, and so eventually it will disappear. Give it another couple weeks. The Annas, which are the green ones, for us, they stay out year round. I know that they migrate in certain areas, but give it another couple weeks. If you have one that's it's a very shiny orange color, if that's what you're dealing with, it will go away. The hummingbirds are still able to get enough food. It just eventually scares them away. So don't worry about it too much. It's really not going to be that big of an issue, and eventually it will leave. The next question on that video was from Kimberly, and she had said, would you be willing to show how you keep small fountain from leaking? I have one but can't get it right. I bought a flex spray. It didn't seem to help. Thank you. I will be showing that. I have a surprise coming up that I can't wait to show you guys. So yes, I will be showing you guys how to stop fountains from kind of leaking and to get them to not spill water everywhere. We do a couple different things. We have silicone, we have different plugs that we use, and we also do use the flex spray stuff, and you have to do a thick, heavy coating on it. So Yes, soon. The next question on that video is from Gigi, and she said it's more of a comment. She said, you and Brent always seem like such nice people. The one question, and it's not even really a question, is that Brent really doesn't want to be on camera. Maybe that should be respected more. I like seeing him, but I know you like having him on. But it always makes me feel awkward because I feel like I'm somehow disrespectful of his wishes, and I do think people should have choice to be on camera or not. I totally agree with that. That's why when I am like out in public, if I'm somewhere, I try to make sure like I'm not actively getting anybody in the shot. Like if somebody walks back here, my thought is they're far enough away. But if somebody were to be close, like if somebody was to be walking here, I would just stop recording and wait till they move because I'm in public and that's kind of a pain. But I did ask Brent, and he said that, like, these little tidbits of him being on camera, he doesn't mind those at all, but he does not want to do a long form video. He would not want to sit here and do a Q&A with me. He doesn't want to do any instructional videos or anything like that. So I will never make him do any of those unless he comes to me and says that he would like to. But he says like those little tidbits, like him picking up the toad, he doesn't mind those. He just doesn't want it to be much more than that. So as long as it's stuck to little bits, he said it's okay. He doesn't want that. So don't feel awkward about it. He said at first he didn't like it, and now he said that it's actually become kind of like a little game, so he doesn't mind it. And the last question on that video was from Brooke, and she had said, what a tease at the end. Can't wait to find out what it is. On another note, instead of moving the lavender, why don't you put a yard ornament there, being it is perfectly centered? Just a thought. Have a great week. Actually, after I read your comment, I thought about it, and we have this little bunny statue that's in the back that's behind one of the lavender plants, and you can't really see it anywhere because the lavender plant is so big. So I thought about actually moving the bunny that's behind that lavender to the front lavender field. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And live with that until this fall time, and then decide if I want to transplant one of the end lavenders to the middle. So we'll see. I am gonna live with it for a little bit and try that. The next video that we did, oh, it was a good one. It was a massive plant load delivered right to my door. Did you guys guess it? Did you think that's what was gonna happen? Because that was crazy. When I was talking to Walter's Gardens, they had sent out a list of all of the plants that they had, and they were like, hey, it is first come, first serve on these plants. You tell us which ones you want, and what's available is what we will send to you. And I was like, okay. And I sent my list thinking that it was going to be like a, like this is my wish list of plants, and they ended up sending everything. So every plant that I asked for, they shipped out, which is crazy. I was not expecting that at all. Like some of these plants, I was like, okay, I want 10 of these, thinking, okay, I'll probably get like 5, if I'm lucky. And so it was cool. It was really cool. It was really exciting. And we've been so busy getting things planted so that way we could go on this trip right here and not have to leave things like in their crayons and have it be 107 at home while I'm filming this video. The first question on that video is from Allie. She had said, Robbie, thank you again for such a fun video. I do have a question. Do you want to work with a plant company? I want you to so that you can quit your other job and just do this full time. I would love to quit my job and do this full time. I'm not sure when that's gonna happen or if that's gonna happen. My thought is if it happens, I would be able to go back to doing 6 videos a week, but right now 5 is working perfectly with my other job. And would I like to work with a plant company? I don't know anymore. After I've worked with a plant company, I like to just be able to, I think, have the freedom, but also I don't know if I would fully say no. I don't know. I'm gonna have to leave it at, I don't know. Yes and no. Not I don't know, yes and no. Yeah, yes and no. If I had a little bit more freedom to be able to go buy other plants that like certain companies don't grow, 100%. Like if I was like like a company wanted to sponsor the channel and I could grow their specific plants, but if there was other plants outside of their company that their company doesn't grow that I could go buy, 100%. I would probably work with that company. But I don't know. It's kind of a tough subject. So at this point, I'm just gonna have fun with it. The next question on that video is from Rachel, and she had said, did you mention what the miniature rose is called? I would love to have one like that. I have a tiny garden and peach is my favorite color bloom, so it would be perfect. Okay, so I thought that I said it, but I don't 100% remember because there was a couple comments asking what it's called. So it is called Itsy Bitsy peach miniature rose. So it's just peach miniature rose, but it has itsy bitsy in front of it. And that one is from Monrovia, and it is like the perfect little landscape rose. Peach has all of a sudden become like my favorite color. There's pompous seed grasses flying in my face. Peach has all of a sudden become my favorite like rose color in the garden. We have that one, and then we have the Soul Sister one. Soul Sister is my number one for that peachy color, and I mean, I only have two, so I mean, it goes Soul Sister, and then it goes the Itsy Bitsy. The Soul Sister, I just like it because the blooms are bigger, and for some reason, they just kind of remind me of like a fish, like a koi fish for some reason, the way the petals are like ruffled. The Itsy Bitsy Peach one is so incredibly cute, and it is so perfect. Really love it. It's perfect for that little spot to just kind of tuck in. And the next question on that video is from Maria, and she had said, "Hi Robbie, I've been wanting to ask what zone where you live, you and Janie. I love it, it's so beautiful." I am in Northern California, zone 9A, and Janie is in zone 9B. So technically two different zones, but we are both zone 9. And we follow the sunset zone, and I am in a zone 9 sunset, and I think Janie is like, it's either a zone like 24 or something like that. She's in a much, she doesn't get as cold during the winter as we get, and also she doesn't get as hot in the summer as we get. So we have a more of a fluctuation, where her fluctuation is much more mild, but it's still very intense. Either way, it's over 100. Either way. And the next video that we did was standing the obelisk and garden cleanup, and oh, they look so good now that we got them the right color. They were very purple, and then they were kind of orange, and it was not the vibe that we were going for in the garden at all. The first question on that video was from Brandon, and he had said, "How do you keep your birds in the aviary over winter?" We just don't get cold. So that's the way that I'm able to do it. We have one night that maybe hits 32 degrees, and if we do get close to 32 degrees, I do put a heat lamp on the outside just to keep them warm, take the edge off, but they actually do totally fine. So we're able to keep them out pretty much year round. And the next question on that video was from Rochelle, and she had said, "Why didn't you just use the same paint stain that you used on the fence so they match?" Just curious. I don't know. I just wanted something that was like still warm and dark, but not something that was black. I didn't want them to fully disappear, but they stood out just way too much. So I thought that this was a better option. So they're still very dark. They just don't like glow. They were literally like glowing from the like back living room window. I was like, that's a little too much. The next question on that video was from Mitzi, and she had said, "How about a boxwood hedge in place of the fence? Classic and formal cottage." I would love to do a boxwood hedge. Brent hates boxwoods, like with a passion. When we get our next house, I will have a boxwood hedge somewhere on the property. He can just stay away from it. But he does feed the chickens, and so he has to walk past that area. I would love to do a hedge of some sort there, like a low hedge. I don't exactly know what I would do. I'm still reworking that area. I want to put either like a bark down, or I do want to put some like type of like very thin layer of pea gravel down in there. And I would like to do a hedge there, or I would like to do a very like open style fence. So something, I'm gonna pop a picture up on the screen of the fence style that I would like to do. Or I would like to do a low type of hedge. I gotta figure out other hedging that I can do that's not boxwood, because I've already been looking at boxwood hedges that are low, and I love them. And the next question on that video was from Lisa, and she had said, "How about another raised bed, like the ones you already have?" I'm going to be building more raised beds in that area. Where we just finished the fence, there's going to be a long bed along that entire fence area right there, just to give us more planting space. It's just, I need the time to do that. And also I decided to rip out all the concrete walkways, so I gotta probably button that project up first. And the next question on that video was from Gardens Glory, and they had said, "Hey Robbie, I was reading the comments and wondered how you handle negative comments. Do they upset you, or are you able to just let it roll off? Deanna." So 50-50. I either get super invested in mean comments and I feel the need to defend myself and say something about it, or I just laugh and I block the person. Those are my two options. So I'll either usually reply, I'll match their energy to an extent, or I will just assume that they're having a very bad day, and I will say something along the lines of, "I hope your day gets better," and I will just move on, or I just block the person because I don't have time for negativity some days. Some days I have time for it. And the next question on that video is from Maria, and she had said, Robbie, just wondering if when you and Brent have a bigger property, would you do a vegetable garden again, or do you just not enjoy growing vegetables? Or is it a phase you're going through and then maybe in the future you will change your mind and grow vegetables again? It's a phase. I love to change what I'm doing every single year in the garden. I can't just be tied down to one thing. So, I mean, you guys remember a year ago, if you were here, I did the entire lawn was cut flowers. And this year it was lawn. And now I'm killing the lawn and doing something else. And if we had more room, I would definitely have a separate vegetable garden. It would not be a massive one. It would probably be like 6 to 8 beds in little rows, and just keep it super simple. Very minimal things that I know we will eat. I probably wouldn't experiment too much with growing things. I would grow a lot in the fall, like lettuce, carrots, fall crops, things like that. And then maybe I would grow a few summertime things, a couple tomatoes. It would probably just be like the most basic vegetable garden out there if we had more room, but we don't have more room. So I would rather grow cut flowers because I get so much enjoyment out of cut flowers. I will be growing lettuce this year because I love to grow lettuce in the fall time. That is one of my favorite things to grow. It's so easy to grow and we eat a ton of lettuce. And the last question on that video was from Christine, and she had said, looks so good. Speaking of, why no more canna lilies? I was just thinking this the other day about your property. Hummingbirds frequent mine. I think I am burnt out on canna lilies. We used to have them at our old house, or actually our next door neighbor had them at their house, and they creeped under the fence and they came up, and here they don't die at all. They just grow. I even have them popping up, and I don't know how they got onto our property, so I have seedlings that pop up all the time, and they're just, I don't know, I just don't love them. I think we had so many of them, and they were such a battle. They were kind of a weed for us, and so I just was like, it's a no for me. And the next video that we did was planting the grasses and the yarrow, I forgot what it was called. And they are doing okay. Turns out while we were gone, we just had a flood in the backyard in that exact area, so when we get back, we'll see what happens. The first question on that video was from Sue, and she had said, off topic, but who do you trust to cut your hair, or do you do it yourself? Also, can we ask what Brent does for a living? Only if he is comfortable. Okay, so I just have whoever is at the barbershop that has an opening when I have an opening cut my hair, and sometimes I have to go a couple weeks. All the guys that work at the barbershop that I'm at, we are all super busy. We're usually doing I usually take the least amount of clients, and I take anywhere from 9 to like 13 clients in a day. All the other guys, like 13 is their minimum that they take, up to usually like 17 appointments in a day. I'm just like, you guys are crazy. That's too many. So just whoever has an opening when I have an opening, sometimes I have to schedule it out 2 or 3 weeks. Like this haircut that I have coming up was scheduled 2 weeks ago. So yeah, living the dream. And then what does Brent do for work? As of right now, Brent is not working. He had a job and it was god awful. And so I basically forced him to quit, and I was like, yeah, you're done. You're driving me crazy. And so he quit his job, and for the past couple months, he's been going full force on the YouTube channel with me, and he's been doing a lot of that, but he is also still actively looking for another job. But I told him that he's not allowed to just take any job. He has to, I sound so controlling. He has to take something that, one, he'll enjoy doing, and 2, that is not like a stupid amount of hours. He needs to be doing something that is so mellow, so easy, so enjoyable. I do hair and I enjoy doing hair, and I enjoy doing YouTube, and I want him to find the same thing, and this last job was not that. So that's what he does. Right now he works for me, and he says that the hours are terrible and the boss is mean and he doesn't get any health benefits. The next question on that video was from Dorothy, and she had said, Dear Robbie and Brent, how many finch did you guys start with, and how many do you have now? They seem like such a happy and well-loved family. We started out with 8. He says somewhere between 5 and 8, because it's been a couple years now. So anywhere between 5 and 8. I think it was like 5 or 6. So 5 to 8 sounds about right. And now we currently have 14. We have 15. We have 15, and then we have 15 eggs right now. So the gestation period is about 2 weeks for eggs to hatch. And so we should, any time now in the next week, be getting babies, hopefully. And they're so ugly when they're babies. They're the ugliest things ever. And so, you know, you win some, you lose some. It's fine. So we're hoping that we get at least 5 babies this time. That would be really cool. Finch don't have like the longest life cycle. In the wild, they live 2 to 3 years. In captivity, they can live anywhere from 3, they say up to 15 years, but that's like super rare. They say anywhere from like 3 to like 5 years is pretty average in captivity. So they live a couple years longer in captivity, but they also normally live in big groups. So they sell these birds, and it's unfortunate because people buy like 1, maybe 2 of them. But in the wild, they like to live in like groups of like 20 to 50. And so we would like to have their numbers be closer to 20. More than that, it might be a little too crammed in that area, but if we could get them to like 15 to 18 birds, I think that would be totally perfect in that aviary, because it's a really, really big aviary. So we would like to keep them that number. Anything more than that might be a little bit too much. And the last question on that video was from Saltwater Mom, and she had said, if you were to cut back the creeping Jenny, would it flush out again, or would it be done and die off? I have some in a planter. I just trimmed and cut off the dead parts. Not sure how it's going to respond. So that creeping Jenny that I had planted was about 2 to 3 years old at this point, and it did get a little like sun scorched this year because we had record-breaking temperatures. So that's why I pulled it. I could have cut it back and like just sheared the thing down, and it would have done another flush. I'm sure I'm still gonna deal with a few pieces that'll pop up. I dealt with them over by our Vitex, a few pieces that popped up, but as I see them start to grow, I just pull it and get the roots out, and then I don't have that issue. A lot of people said that in ground they become super invasive in their area and kind of take over, and they're kind of a pest. In my area, I know that they stay alive year round. And I could see them also becoming a pest, but I just yanked them out, and I've done this many times before, and then I just have to come through every couple weeks and just kind of like pull the little ones that did pop up. So if you did a shear back on yours, you should be totally fine. They should rebound, no problem. I wanted something that has more height there. That whole front of that flower bed was so flat this year. It was gorgeous. It was just one level, and then it was the apple trees. And I need more variance in the garden bed. I should have just done the Pachoas right in the front, and then I should have done taller things in the back, and then had the apple espalier be the full background. You live and learn. So you should be totally fine. Shear it back. It might get a little sun scorched because you cut it, and then it should do another flush, as long as you have enough time in your growing season. And if you're in a warmer season, it should winter over no problem too. And the last video that we did was seed starting with my mom, and I'm so glad you guys got to meet her. So there was some confusion on it, and so I want to re-clarify. So who I call mom is not Jalen's mom. Jalen and I do have a biological mother that we share. I have 4 sisters. 2 of them are my adopted sister. Jalen is my half sister, and then I have 1 sister. Her name's Kailani, and she is my full blood sister. So I have 1 full blood sister, 1 half sister, and 2 adopted sisters, and it was because I was adopted. And it's not a legal adoption. I moved out from crazy family and moved in with my friend. Her name is Cherish, and her sister is who I call mom, who is Katie. And Cherish and I were helping Katie move into this house, and she was painting it, and Cherish and I were helping paint it and put new carpet in and clean it up, along with Katie's daughters at the time. And Katie was like, hey, you're sharing a room with Cherish right now. I have this extra room. If you want it, you can stay here. And I was like, what? Yes, absolutely. And so I stayed there, and probably within like 6 months, she became mom, and she has been mom ever since. So I think I was like 13 or 14 at the time, maybe something like that. And yeah, it's been the best thing ever. And now mom is here visiting from Texas, and she did live in California. They just moved to Texas after the campfire that happened up in Paradise, though. It's very confusing, and I am very sorry. My family dynamic, if you knew the whole thing, you'd be like, wait, where's the graphs? Where's the charts? It's a lot. And so I do have to say too, Jalen's dad is not my dad. That is my stepdad, who, it's really funny, he is the one who, usually will hang out on Father's Day, or usually he comes over to our house on Christmas, or we go to his house on Christmas and Easter and all of these things. It's a very confusing family. It's so confusing. Anyways, we spend most of my time with my stepdad, I guess my ex-stepdad, and we spend a lot of time with, or I spend a lot of time with my adopted mother. I created my own family. I mean, Brent and I have been together like 10 years now, and he probably just started figuring it out and like really getting everything kind of clear the last like 4 years. So it's a very confusing dynamic. So Katie is mom, Jalen is my half sister, Kailani is my full sister. She lives down south of California. And then I have another sister, Nina, who her dog Jinx came over. You guys met her dog. And that is my adopted sister. And then I have Hannah, who I went to her wedding in Texas, and that is also my adopted sister. I hope that clears some of that up. Or confuses you a little bit more. The first question on that video was from Zazelda, and they had said, love your mom. She's a natural looking at the camera when speaking. Can we see pics of you and Reg, please? What an adorable story. This is so unfortunate, but I don't have any photos of me and Reg. Okay, I have one photo of me and Reg, but my head's like cut off in it, and I was not wearing a shirt. So we will not be seeing that photo. This is kind of a time, like this was like right before like the first iPhone came out, and it was like right around the time that the first iPhone came out. And so like people weren't really taking photos of every single thing. And I don't know, I didn't get any photos of Reg. Except I have a couple of them, but they're not good photos, and so I cannot show them. So you get to see the one photo of Reg, and that was it. And I found that one on somebody else's Facebook who had taken a photo of Reg and shared it. And that was it. I'm sorry. The next question on that video was from Kaylee, and she had said, I think, once you start seeds in the fall, can you leave them in an, I think it's unheated garage with lights? That's the only word that Brian and I could come up with. I don't think it's ingested. I don't think you want to ingest the garage. I'm not funny. Yes, depending on your zone. So probably you could. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how cold you get. If you're in a warmer area where you have a couple days that might hit 32 degrees, definitely go for it. If you're hitting 32 degrees and your garage is so cold, probably not. I mean, unless you're going to buy heat mats, which is also another option. So you could buy the heat mats, which will help bring up for your seeds to actually germinate. And then once they're under the grow lights, they should be fine with colder days. It might actually be easier to transplant those out in the winter time if you're doing fall crops. So, I mean, I think it's worth a shot. You might as well just try it. Seeds cost nothing. They're super cheap. So if you already have all the rest of the supplies and you have the grow lights and you have the space to do it, and it's in a garage that's unheated, I would try it. I mean, I'm starting seeds directly outside in my seed trays because I have better luck in the seed trays for some reason, even though they're also outside. So I think it's great to experiment. I would try it if I was you. And the last question on that video was from Nancy, and she had said, where's your mom visiting from? She seems delightful. How fun for you to be together. She is visiting from Texas. She lives in this tiny little town called Mahia. It is middle of nowhere. I think it's like an hour away from Waco, an hour and 45 minutes from Dallas, and like 2 hours from Houston. So literally like middle central of Texas. And they love it out there. They bought a cute little house out there. My sister bought it, and my mom lives with my sister. And they have a little bit of property. It backs up to a like a wild land, but it's also part of a school area. So they don't have like back neighbors. It's really, really cool. And they're at this like super quiet street, super cool little town. We usually stay in one of the hotels that's in town. There's only 2 hotels in that entire town. And we try to visit a couple times a year. So it is always fun when mom comes to visit because we get to do things like go to the coast. It's not like it takes much. She's like, I would love to see the ocean. I was like, sold, mom. Or when I go out to Texas, I'm like, hey, I would love to see the botanical garden. She's like, sold, Rob. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And so it doesn't take much convincing for me to do much or my mom to do much when we hang out. We always have a really good time. So I think that is going to be it for this Q&A. We're keeping it short and sweet. I'm gonna go back up to the hotel with Brent and hang out with my mom, and we're gonna explore Fort Bragg just for a little bit more. We're here for the rest of the day, and then we're headed back home. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for not visiting the garden. Thanks for visiting the ocean with me, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.